please? Can I have your attention, please? Thank you all for taking time out of your schedule to be here tonight, and appreciate you coming out on such a hot evening to have the opportunity to be the Democrat candidate for United States Senate from the state of Missouri.
Thank you. I appreciate you all being here. I'm not sure where I should stand. Right? You guys, you all are in our group, right? All right, so I need to stand back here a little bit. Thank you all for coming out tonight. It's wonderful to see you, and I want to just tell you, it is a blessing, believe it or not, to be able to run and do this. People ask me all the time when I'm traveling around the state, usually one of the first questions I get is, Robin, you seem like a nice and sensible person. Why on earth do you want to run for the United States Senate? And I got to tell you, I'm doing it because I refuse to accept that we've got to have a government in Washington that is so broken that it works for those that are too big to fail or those that have a big lobbyist more than it does for us. And I refuse to accept it's got to be all this bickering and nonsense. And I refuse to accept that nobody is held accountable for how money gets spent. And I just think we can do better than that. So that's what motivates me to run. And that's why I appreciate you all being here. You know, I've been Secretary of State for the last 5 years. And I want to talk just for a minute about that because it's one of those jobs, a lot of people don't know exactly what it does. And they'll kind of say, gee, I thought Hillary Clinton was Secretary of State and wonder about that. But the bottom line is in Missouri, the Secretary of State is somebody who's got the task of helping small businesses. Everybody who's got a business in the state registers with the Secretary of State's office. And we've tried to be smart, use technology, do things online. And by doing just that, we've saved over $12 million for small businesses in our state. We got 400,000 businesses in Missouri that go through our office. And we've used technology to cut red tape and cut costs for them, and I'm really proud of that. It's kind of common sense things we ought to be doing in Washington. But we've also done something else that's really made a huge difference, and that is we protected consumers. And at a time when, in Washington, folks were completely asleep at the switch about what these big financial institutions were doing, here in Missouri, in my office, we were helping people get money back from these big financial institutions. We got $10 billion back from big financial institutions that were trying to stiff-arm consumers. To me, that's what we need. We need somebody who knows whose side they're on in these fights. And it's been pretty clear in my record here in Missouri that I know whose side I'm on and I know who I work for. And that's what we need in Washington. And I'm running against a guy, I'll tell you, who is very different. Who's got a record, a long, long record of being in Washington for 14 years. Somebody who time and again has stood on the side of the special interests, stood on the side of Wall Street by changing the rules to let it be more lax, let them run wild. When they drove our economy into a ditch, he was there to bail them out to a tune of $700 billion. And then, when he had a chance to say, we're not going to do this anymore, we need to hold you guys accountable, he stood on the side of the Wall Street banks again and again. I think that's wrong. And that's not what we ought to be doing. And I know Congressman Blunt's a guy I'm likely to be running against. And what he does all the time is kind of funny. He puts on a plaid shirt, drives around in his rented pickup truck. Believe it or not, he's got a rented pickup truck. Says he's going to be looking out for us in Washington. Problem is, he's the top recipient of lobbyist campaign money in all of Congress. Think about that. There are 535 members of Congress. And this guy has taken more money from lobbyists than any of them. To me, that doesn't make any sense. To me, that's not a coincidence. Doesn't mean he's going to be on our side. And I tell people all the time, I still run the family cattle farm down outside of Rolla, so I know bull when I see it. And it is bull that this guy says he's going to be looking out for Washington, because he's got a record of not doing it. The other thing that I learned on the farm was that when something breaks, you fix it. And that's really what we need out there. Because the problems that are facing our country aren't Democrat or Republican problems. They're things that are affecting all of us. About how we're going to create those good jobs, get the economy going. what we're going to do to secure our energy future so we're not dependent on all this foreign oil. What we're going to do to really invest in education, because we know the kids are the ones who are going to make those new discoveries about curing cancer. They're going to make those new discoveries about renewable energies that are homegrown. We got to do that. And those aren't Democrat or Republican issues. So I'm motivated to do this because I tell you folks, I am fed up with what's been going on out there. And we got a chance to change it. And it's going to be a really close election. They always are in Missouri. This is going to be no different. And so I appreciate you being here because I'm going to need your help. And if you want somebody to be in Washington that's going to know who they work for, is going to listen to Missourians and not be caught up in the culture of that place that's so cozy with all these special interests, then I hope you can help me out. Because that's what this is all going to be about. We got an election in November. I know we got some other candidates here tonight. I appreciate y'all putting yourselves out there on the line. If anybody wants to help in the campaign, you can go to my website. It's easy. It's robincarnahan.com. And sign up. You can sign up to be a volunteer. If you can contribute something, I hope you'll do that. We're having to try to keep pace with this guy with all this money out of Washington. But I need you to really talk to your friends and neighbors. Take this on as a project this year. A lot of times in these kind of off-year elections, when you don't have a presidential candidate, people sometimes forget there's an election. But this is an important one, because it really is about whether we're going to make progress on things that collectively we care about, or whether we're going to go back to the ways that we've been, whether we're going to put a guy like Roy Blunt, who helped drive our economy into the ditch, whether you give that guy a promotion. I think that's the wrong way to go, and I think most Missourians do as well. So I appreciate your help, and I'll just visit with you a little bit more, but you're great to be out here. We won this county in the last election, so we can do it again, but only if you all get out and help me. So thank you all very, very much. She's got bumper stickers and contribution envelopes and all kinds of good stuff. So take one as you're on your way out the door. Oh yeah, he's a great guy. Wow, man. He's that it's good to have somebody with well,
Okay, Robin, you talked with the crowd here a little bit about why you're running. Just kind of reiterate that again, I guess, what your main point of emphasis is in your campaign right now.
Well, I think Washington is just broken right now. We need to get people out there that want to fix it, want to fix problems, and not the ones that created the problems. And, we've got this issue with wasteful spending. We've got this issue with too big to fail. We've got this issue with nobody being held accountable, and we've got to change that. And if we elect a guy like Congressman Blunt, who's been part of the problem, nothing's going to be done differently. We know exactly what he's going to do in the Senate because he's got a 14-year record of already doing it in the House. So I think we're ready for a change and hope I can be a part of that.
What are you hearing as you're going around the state of Missouri from the voters? What are the big issues on their minds right now?
Well, voters are just fed up. They're fed up with a system that seems broken and rigged, where if you're too big to fail, you get taken care of, or if you've got some big corporate lobbyist, you get taken care of. And otherwise, you're on your own and you get stuck paying the bill. And that's what we've seen so far. That's why this situation with the bailout of the Wall Street banks, Congressman Blunt was there and part of the leadership that did that. He wasn't just another member of Congress. He was a guy that twisted arms to get folks to vote for that bailout. I think it was wrong, and that it's been proven.
As you go out there and you're talking with voters, how do you differentiate yourself, make yourself different than quote unquote the establishment, like Congressman Blunt or like anybody that's in there right now? Because it seems like that's what the real backlash is against, is the people that are there are voters asking you, well, why should we send you?
Of course, voters ought to be doing that. They ought to be finding somebody that's going to look out for them and is going to be voting in their interests. And my record as Secretary of State is one where I've been helping small businesses by cutting costs and red tape. I've been standing up for consumers and getting money back for them. And that's a big contrast with Congressman Blunt, who's been in Washington and I think been there too long, gotten way too cozy with all those corporate special interests out there, and gotten caught up in the culture of the place. And look, not everybody who's been in Washington a long time is bad, but it's not good if you get caught up in the culture of the place and get too cozy with all the powerful interests that just throw their money around and campaign contributions, and that's, I'm afraid, what he's done.
Good enough. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Right.
Yep, we see you. Thank you. Yep, thank you.